delighted that we will be performing for the first time in HGO's history Handel's Xerxes. It's one of Handel's very greatest operas, containing some of his most magnificent, most memorable music.
Xerxes was the emperor of Persia. Yes, he's the one who went to war against the Greeks. But Handel's opera Xerxes isn't really about him. This piece comes out of the same tradition that The Marriage of Figaro comes out of, or any such dramatic comedy out of that time. This was the Enlightenment, and people really believed that with love and reason, anybody, no matter what they had done to err, could be redeemed and could be shown towards a better way of life. And that's what happens in this opera.
As is often the case with Handel's operas, the plot can be somewhat complicated and convoluted. It's usually a series of love relationships that become very entangled, and Xerxes is no exception.
One of the things that Anthony truly believes in is telling the narrative of stories clearly, and again with Xerxes, it's a production that is very stylized, is very of its time, is of its place. It has some fantastic visual imagery based on Hogarth's original print, and it's a very strong looking show, very period, but with a period twist to it.
Handel operas are not necessarily so plot driven as they are emotion driven. I think Handel's one of the great dramatic composers and one of the great explorers of the foibles of love and emotion. And Xerxes has a wonderful tapestry of arias that are humorous and light, and then contrasting to that, as always with Handel, you have these extraordinarily poignant, just endlessly beautiful arias that are sensuous. And
Nicholas Hytner's highly imaginative production takes place in Handel's time, but he cleverly juxtaposes the old world with Handel's own period, and the way that he does this is that the opera is set in Vauxhall, a very famous pleasure garden in London in the 17th and early 18th centuries.
The cast that we have assembled for Xerxes is absolutely mouth-watering, containing some of the most distinguished Handel singers of our time. Susan Graham is a great favourite, not only in the US, but all over the world. She's one of the world's most distinguished, most famous artists. And it's wonderful that she has a long relationship with Houston Grand Opera, and particularly wonderful that she'll be joining us again this season, making her role debut as Xerxes. Also in the cast is David Daniels, one of the most remarkable countertenors, singing one of the roles that he has made most special. He is also a great Handelian, and will bring tremendous verve, tremendous virtuosity, tremendous distinction to the cast. As Romilda, we have Laura Claycomb, one of the great HGO favourites, absolutely again on her home territory. She's a marvellous Handel singer, having all the vocal elegance, the vocal virtuosity, the vocal finesse, and the emotional sensitivity that great Handel arias require. William Lacey is a real Baroque specialist, conducting with great distinction operas by Monteverdi, by Handel, and by Mozart all over the world. Handel is something of a speciality for him too, and so to have him with his very specific distinction in this repertory, joining this extraordinary cast of Handelians, I think guarantees us an exceptional night of truly remarkable music making.